Hello everyone. So in today's lesson we're just going to continue on from our previous video looking at the launcher. So this time around we're back in the Unreal Engine tab, so just make sure you're seeing the same thing here, Unreal Engine, and then if you go over to your library tab, hopefully you've now installed the version of Unreal, and you'll see up in the top right hand corner the ability to launch it. So we're going to stick with Unreal 5 for these videos. So once you've selected 5 up here in the top corner, simply hit launch. So it should change to launching. And then just give it a moment or two. Remember, Unreal's a very heavy application. It will take a bit to load. You've seen there the icon with a spinny wheel, so you should see the editor appearing here. The initializing value here will update. Now again, depending on the speed of your machine that you're using, this can take a bit longer. Whereas if you have a super powerful machine, so this is a 10 core machine with 32 gigabytes of RAM and 30 RTX 3080 GPU. So this is what you see once you've run Unreal. It'll load. You can see this Unreal project browser. Just make this bigger here. So within the Unreal project browser, you can see here at the left hand side there's these tabs available for different sectors. Remember, this goes back to our very first video of where and how Unreal is used. And Unreal, in their wisdom, have been fantastic here and developed so many what you call templates for people to start off with. So you're not having to build an entire project totally from an empty world with no settings already pre-configured. So this is an amazing tool for each of these sectors, and it builds you a framework from the outset. So under the recent projects, you should have a library of your own games here, or your own applications, your own levels. So that's where these being. You can see I've already created a very basic version of a first project, and within it you can see the path of where it is. And it says it's saying unknown engine version for some reason, but it was definitely created on Unreal 5. What you can do is you can right click on it and go to Show and Explorer, and you can see here that it's actually, this is where it is stored locally on the hard disk on the machine. But again, we'll come back to that in a wee second. So let's say in our case here we're wanting to build something from nothing. That's where the blank project comes into play. So you can see here a description over on the right hand side of what this project is. It's a clean, empty project with no code. And you can see its defaults here. It's a Blueprint project or a C++ one. Now again, if you're doing C++, you will need to install Visual Studio there as well. But the projects that we're going to focus on will be Blueprint only, so you be very rare that you would need the C++ option. You can see here the target platform. Is this game scene, whatever it is, going to run on desktop or a mobile device? Again, I would say for our case we'll leave it as desktop for most of the time. What is the quality preset? So you can see here, is it scalable and maximum? So if it's scalable, it means then you can, funnily enough, scale back the level of details within across the level. Or do you want to start with all the maximum settings with lighting and those such things? So in our case, for starting purposes, we'll leave it as maximum. You can also see that there's an option here enabled for starter content. So starter content is like a very basic asset pack with some models, particles, what else is in it? Maybe some sounds in it. So it's up to you whether you want to use that or not. If you're not going to be using those assets, probably better just disabling that and turn it off. And then if you can see here, choose if real-time ray tracing should be supported in the new project. Now, again, This is dependent on the GPU you have in your computer. So pretty much from the NVIDIA RTX 3000 series. So this is, as I said, a 3080. Technically, we could enable ray tracing here. So ray tracing is pretty much the de facto resolution quality setting for projects. So if you've played any games recently, there's an option to enable ray tracing, but ray tracing comes at a cost of maybe a lower frame rate, etc. So in our case here, we're going to leave ray tracing disabled. So we've made it a blueprint. It's desktop maximum and the starter content. Now, if you go across under each of the templates here, you'll see that it updates what each of these things are. So the first person one there just gives an overview. So it gives you like a basic Call of Duty Quake type point of view behind the player. Basic environment, you can shoot basic projectiles. And all the templates are pretty much set up as blueprints, desktop maximum. Except for maybe, so there you go, third person, the exact same. Top down, so like an RTS camera point of view. Vehicle one, so driving type game. Handheld AR. So again, this will depend pretty much on if you've got an AR capable device like a iPhone 13 or something like that, a minimum. And then you can also have a virtual reality template as well. So if you've got a Oculus Quest 2 or something, or an Oculus Quest, whatever it's going to be, by the time you watch this video, you can use that as a starting point for it. So these are all games-based projects that you can start off on. The film and video ones, and again, this is Unreal 5.0, so by the time some of you maybe watch this, there maybe be even more templates in there. So you can have a blank template, a virtual production one, which may be some of the ones we use whenever we look at the wall, and in E3 or DMX or in-camera VFX. Under architecture, you can see here that there's ArcViz ones. So again, this template is dedicated to architectural visualization workflows, examples of exterior and interior animations, etc. So again, if you can use them, there's no point in reinventing wheels as such. So very, very useful templates right across here. And there's a handheld AR one again. Automotive, same thing, blank one. Project Studio, so you can see here, used to create product presentations, cinematics in a photographic studio environment. Very, very powerful. Collaboration viewer, product configuration. So a lot of examples for you to work through. If you want to try any of them, just simply hit, if you're satisfied with it, simply hit the create button. So for our case here, we'll maybe just use a game one, to be honest. Maybe as plain and simple. So I'm going to create first person one. Let's say I'm going to leave it as blueprint, going to leave it as desktop maximum. I'm going to include the starter content. You can see here down in the bottom corner, where's your project location. So again, if you have a computer in the house, it's always good to have that maybe on a secondary hard drive. The Unreal projects will take up quite a bit of space on the local disks, maybe 4 or 5 gigabytes per project. So space can change very quickly. So if you want to change that, just browse for a folder, simply click that, and then you can put it on wherever you need to. But for the sake of what I want to do here with this, I'm going to leave it as a C drive. And then what do you want to call the project? So here we'll call it FPS template. And as you can see down here at the bottom corner, that's what we've done. So once you've done that, you'll actually hit create. So you hit the create button, and then once that does, it'll load it up, and you'll see Unreal starting. It'll come up with the name of the project. You'll see this here, compiling, putting together, initializing, etc. here, until ultimately the actual interface loads up. So it shouldn't be too long. So there we go. So this is the interface for Unreal 5. We've got a project loaded. So at that point, we're going to stop the videos. We'll have a look in the next video of the actual interface basics. Okay.